Okay, and hello and welcome to this beginner's guide to SimBrief. SimBrief is one of the most popular flight planning tools for P3D, X-Plane, indeed FSX. It's also totally free, and this tutorial will cover the very basics of it if you're not familiar with it. Now, if you happen to be a member of a virtual airline, then typically it with their flight planners or flight dispatch system, it often auto transfers the data into SimBrief. However, this tutorial is going to assume that you're not a member of a virtual airline and you're setting up a flight independently. So setting up and registering for account is easy. I'm not going to show you that. I'm just going to take you through the steps of how to generate a flight plan. So you'll start probably on something like this screen. So you want to go to create a new flight. And you can put the airline in if you wish. It's not necessary to get the flight plan, but you can if you wish. Same with the flight number. So for this flight, we're going to say we're flying from Stansted to Budapest. So you just put the ICAO code in here, which for Stansted is EGSS, and for Budapest is LHBP. And you can see down here it's already generated a flight plan. We also need to choose our airframe, so we're going to imagine that we're flying an Airbus A320-200. And these advanced aircraft options, there's no real need to touch those. Over here, again, there's no real need to touch any of this, or indeed any of this. So we come down to the route, and we just have to analyze route and just make sure it's valid. If it's not valid, you can choose one of these alternatives here, or you can come down here, open Route Finder, and just click find route, and it will generate a new route. And you do one of these options until you get one that is comes up valid. And so as you can see from the route, this is a route that you'll use in your FMC. As you can see, we've got the CLN or the Clacton 4 Sierra departure out of Stansted. Then you've got your waypoints and airways here. And we got the Ruto 4 Romeo arrival into Budapest. Okay, once we're all happy with that, we can just generate the flight plan. Just takes a couple of seconds. Okay, so the flight plan is generated. As you can see, there's an overview of our routes. And if you come down here, you have all the information you could wish for. Trip fuel, continuing fuel, and yeah, so you can make it as detailed or as simplistic as you like. So if you want to really get into it, all the various details are here. If we keep scrolling down, we've got weights, for example, passengers, cargo, payload, zero fuel weight, etc., etc. If we come down here, there's one little useful thing. If you're flying the PMDG 737, you've got the descent forecast page, and there's your descent information that you'll get from there to put into that on your arrival. So once we've done that, we have a huge variety of export options. If you're flying in P3D or FSX with default ATC, you can export the flight plan here, FSX P3D, for example. You just download it, and then you just go to where it's downloaded, and you cut it out of there. You can paste it in whatever folder you like. I've still got my FSX folder, funnily enough, even though I don't fly an FSX anymore. Paste it in there and just rename it to something that you're easily going to find. So usually departure, which we've got as Stansted, and where we're going to Budapest. As simple as that. So I've already got a previous Stansted Budapest plan, so we can just delete out the old one and put the new one in, like so. Now, if you're flying something like the PMDG, and if indeed you saw my PMDG FMC tutorial, you'll see that I imported a flight plan directly into it to save me having to put all the waypoints and airway information. Now, to do that, we come down to PMDG flight plan and download. Works with a number of other aircraft. As you can see, you can do similar things. I'll just run through the PMDG one, and again you show in the folder, cut it from there, and we want the PMDG flight plan folder, which I've got on my desktop here. I'll show you the path name for it in a second when I found it. Here it is. And again, we just paste it in here. Now, to make it easy to remember to type into the FMC, I just name it to the departure and destination. So stands to the first two letters ST, Budapest, the first two letters BU. And again, I've got a previous entry for that, so we can take the old one and delete it out, and just rename the new one to just STBU. And so when you go to the CO route page on your FMC, you'll just type in STBU and it'll import it straight in. One last thing to make you aware of before I finish this tutorial is ARAC cycles. If you have a Navigraph subscription, you can update your ARAC cycles. They're updated monthly, and it's great because it synchronizes it between your aircraft and your flight planning. If you don't have Navigraph, you may find that your SimBrief ARAC cycle differs from your plane, which can cause issues with invalid waypoints when entering your flight plan. So and Navigraph obviously is payware, but I do thoroughly, I mean, you can just use it for 1 month just to synchronize everything. You don't have to have it up to date every month, although it's handy if you do for flying online. Whilst I'm talking about flying online, there's just one other thing to be aware of. I won't run through it, but if you're flying on something like VATSIM, typically you'll want to IFPS validate your route. You just click on it, and as you can see, this route is error-free. That's fine. If you did have errors, you can either manually try and edit it, which is a bit hit and miss, or you can use another program. I use Euro FPL. In fact, you'll see it's IFPS validation presented by Euro FPL. You can go directly to Euro FPL and generate flight plans through that. That I will save for another time, as I just wanted to concentrate on SimBrief. And that brings us to the end of our tutorial. So that really is as straightforward as that to set up your plan. And yeah, until next time when I bring you another tutorial, bye for now.